It's 3:33 on Fixed Blade Friday afternoon. Let's see what we can see. What about this? Before I move on to the Finnish knives, let me tell you about my progress on the Captain Electro Warncliffe sheath. So I kind of got it together like this. The idea was to cover it in leather. I thought, why don't I put a magnetic detent in there? And I'm telling you, I had the perfect magnet, which came in the packaging of the SOG Aegis FX. A 1/2 inch by 1/8 inch neodymium magnet that sat in there. And when I put this blade in, it would, and then pulled it, yoink! It felt great. Okay, so what did I do? I thought, okay, I'm going to glue that in there. Now, let me do one of the most stupid things that I've done possibly this year and try and grind on that magnet a little bit to rough it up so the adhesive will take using a disc sander. Well, I stuck the magnet onto a piece of metal. I thought, that's not going to come off very easily, is it? Well, I guess when you put it up to an electric motor, there isn't an electric field involved. So yeah, the thing pinged, right? And I'm like, nah, where did it go? I'm looking for everywhere for it. And I thought, well, it pinged next to a running electric motor. So where's it going to end up? I mean, I heard it go ping, right? So it stuck to something metal somewhere. What's the most magnetized thing right in the vicinity? The motor. Right, so I took the whole thing to pieces, looking for the magnet. No magnet in there, guys and gals. No magnet. And I have a packet of other magnets, but they're smaller, way smaller than this, right? And this one worked so well. So I went online and I bought, I think, 50 odd of these magnets. And this will be, so yeah, once they arrive, I'll be able to finish. But in the meantime, this will be the tube. So it's going to be a dangler, by the way. I mean, it's going to be a neck carry. So it'll hang, and that is why it is very important to have a good detent on the sheath. Now, the way that I made the balsa wood sheath already, it sits in there very tight. It's not coming out. But the magnet will make it so that only human intervention or an act of God is going to get this out of there, right? There's nothing really you can snag with this handle so much. I've had dogs pull a neck knife off me before, but it had a lanyard on it, or it had a handle that was a little more grippy for a dog's claw, or whatever. Anyway, so I've ranted on enough about that. You can see where we are with that. And it is a fixed blade, and fixed blades tend to come with sheaths. Now this sheath is a work of art. I'm going to tag Kukkeli Bushcraft because he may know this maker. I'm told he's a renowned Finnish maker by the guy in the shop where I bought this, but I didn't get the name. And he was selling various knives from this guy, and they were all chef's kiss. So we got some reindeer bone, I believe this is, or antler, I suppose. Sorry, beg your pardon. This looks like it might be birch. This stacked handle. And the blade is wicked sharp. 0 grind. I'm assuming it's hand forged by the maker. And it's a wonderful puukko. Very comfortable to carry in the dangler. It's stylish. I guess the only reason I don't rock this every day is because I worry that this might break, out in the woods or something. This one I made a short video on but it is worth taking a slightly longer look at, starting with the Finnish flag and the embossing on this sheath here and this amazing piece of stamped mystery metal. It is very solid. Okay, there's nothing wiggly, wobbly, bendy, nothing. Flexy, yeah, a little. Feels just right. This, I haven't used it because I was just given it to sharpen and with permission to show it in a video. Now see how the light shines through there. That's probably celluloid, right? The warmth of that color, you're not going to find that being manufactured anywhere now. Something that makes a color like that when the light shines through it. That's my 2 cents. I could be mistaken. And that substance, I have razors, straight razors, that the scales are made out of this stuff, and I've used them to do similar things. I'll show a knife some other day where I did a similar thing using a straight razor scale and a fixed blade knife. And when you work this material, it smells delicious. Now, they say it's toxic, but micarta is also toxic, and it stinks. This stuff smells like a pine forest, because I think it is like made out of pine resin or something. And third fixed blade knife from Finland. This thing is mint. I had a thus far unsuccessful escapade as a knife vendor, and I got a lot of knives to sell that are now back in my possession, such as this. I tried to fob it off on my wife, and I think she appreciated the gesture, but she isn't out skinning moose much at the moment, so I don't know, maybe. And, I read about Sears, the man who took the name Nessmuk, who spoke about his trifecta of blades, the hatchet, the folding knife, and then a knife like this. But what he said, he specified a rather different knife from this, because he said it should be thin and slicey. And this thing is not thin and slicey. This is like a bushcrafter knife with a Nessmuk profile. And then Brisa makes one called the Big Muck, which is just like this, but twice as long, with a really beautiful long handle on it. And with one of those, I put this rather elegant little scar here into my hand with the Big Muck, because I was tapping away on a pole and it was much longer than the knife I'm used to, my woods knife, and tapped myself and gave myself 4 stitches. So, I repeat myself a lot. You've seen a lot of these knives, you've heard a lot of these stories maybe, well, some of them. It wasn't that many stories even. But, appreciate you watching, and I wish you a wonderful weekend, everybody. And keep your knives sharp, and keep cutting stuff with them. And, if anybody wants some kind of knife like this, or they think they might be interested in a regrind or anything, I'm trying to pay my dues at the moment. So my honest opinion, which is yet to be established, this is why I'm doing the Captain Electro, the Knife Reviewers Challenge, which may amount to just this. But this, for me, is pretty good, because I worked hard on it, and I think that it is a good example of that which I am capable. It's a handmade knife. The looks, you might love them, you might hate them, you might be indifferent. The blade is not very polished yet. And what I can't really display very well, but perhaps, if you look closely, you can imagine that this thing does cut. It cuts like no knife that you're going to get in the store. You know, from a salesman that has a brand name on it and so forth. Nobody does a complete... Well, I beg your pardon. Rockstead, and there may be one or two other manufacturers out there that do full convex. But, yeah, so that's why I think I have a niche. I can make chisel knives, straight razor knives. They're handmade, they're ponderous, they're completely... Each one is unique. It's an art knife, you know, I guess. That's what I'm going to say, because if it's an art knife, whoo, sky's the limit, right?